Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the vlog, episode 35. The view's a little different today. We're in the studio, but I have some students that are working on a stop motion animation project and I can't touch any of their stuff, so couldn't pull the fancy black curtain back. This session is the first session I played in the year 2022. 2021 started out to be a great year. Then in October, it really took a shitty turn. I didn't finish very strong. So took about a month off of poker and I'm excited to be back and playing again. And there are going to be premiums aplenty in this vlog. So if you enjoy, please like and subscribe. Let's get to it.
If you're playing poker on the PokerBROS app, there's a club you've got to join, Button Clickers. This group has many vloggers in it, including Doug McCusker, who got me into the group, and I've been made an official affiliate. So, if you're interested in playing poker with me, join Club 21839 and use the referral ID 720791. I'm playing under the name BDM Professor. We're going to start things off in the cutoff, and we look down at Ace-10 offsuit. Under the gun makes the call, and it folds all the way around to me, and I decide to go ahead and bump it up to $12. The button then shoves for $73 total. This is the second hand in a row that I've opened with a raise, and he's shoved on me. He's short stacked, and I just don't see him being that strong 2 hands in a row, so with an ace in my hand, I go ahead and make the call. The flop is deuce-5 queen. The turn is a 6, and the river is another queen, so I don't really connect here. My opponent did, though. He flips over queen 10. So I was right. He's shoving light, but he wins this one. We're in the big blind this time. We look down at 8-9 offsuit. It calls all the way around to me, and this is an obvious squeeze spot here, and it's all about finding the right sizing. The sizing I chose is $37. Just kidding. I checked. We're going to have a family pot. The flop is 7-10 deuce, so I flopped an open-ended straight draw here. The small blind leads for $12. I make the call and everybody else folds, so we're off to the turn heads up. The turn is a 7 of hearts, so it pairs the board. And once again, the small blind leads out, but only for $17. I call looking for a good river card to make a move. The river is an 8, so not what I was looking for, but now I've got some equity against ace-high hands. The small blind fires for a third time, $30. Okay. What does he have here? There was no pre-flop raise, so hands like ace-jack, ace-queen, and 10s plus should probably be out of the question. He could have a 7 being a limped pot. Jack-9 makes a straight, which I could credibly rep since I played a different straight draw the exact same way. There's no sense in calling here. All I can do is raise and hope to get a 10 to fold, so I ship it. At the time, I thought I was beating hands like ace-king and ace-queen, but again, there wasn't a raise pre-flop, so those hands are not likely. It's a risky play, but perhaps the aggression can get a stronger hand to fold. After tanking for a while, my opponent flashes me his hand, queen 10, and he ends up folding, and we win this one. There's a button straddle, we're in the cutoff, and we look down at ace-king of diamonds. The action folds all the way around to me, and so I bump it up to $17. The straddler makes the call. This is the guy who shoved with queen 10 earlier, so we're off to a flop heads up. The flop is 8-10 queen with 2 spades. I check and my opponent bets $25. I think that's a good price for me to continue, so I call. We're off to the turn. The turn's an interesting card. It's the 9 of clubs, so now any jack makes a straight. I check with the intention of check jamming because I only have about 105 in my stack, but my opponent actually checks behind, so we're off to the river. The river is an interesting card. It's a jack of diamonds. It puts a straight on the board, but I have the absolute nuts here. I want to put out a bet that can look like I'm trying to steal it and get called, so I bet $30. He moans and groans, then he says, "You got it." But then he calls. I show, and of course I win. I know you guys are going to get on me in the comments about my bet sizing on the river, but my thought process is I'd rather bet small and win an extra $30 than bet large and get no more money. We're in the small blind, and this time we look down at ace-king offsuit. +1 makes the call, and it folds all the way around to me, and I bump it up to $16. The big blind calls, as does +1, so we're off to a flop 3 ways. The flop is king 10-3 with 2 hearts, so I flop top here. I put out a c-bet of $26. The big blind folds, but +1 makes the call, so we're off to the turn. The turn is a queen of clubs, and I decide to go ahead and keep firing, and I fire out for $50 this time. My opponent pretty quickly calls, and this should probably be a warning sign. The river is an 8 of clubs, so a backdoor flush comes in, but I don't put him on that. At the time, I thought it might be a hand like ace-queen or king-jack, but he didn't raise pre-flop. He only limped and then called a raise, so those hands are probably unlikely. Not realizing that though, I ship it. My opponent snaps me off. I roll my hand over and he rolls over pocket threes for the flop set. Looking back, I probably could have slowed down and checked the river, but he's most likely going to shove there anyways, and I thought it would be way too nitty to fold top, so I was going to lose the maximum there anyways. After that hand, I considered leaving. I had taken my car up to Firestone that's in the same shopping center as the card room. My car was ready, and I thought, you know what? I can just get out of here and book a small loss, but I thought, no, this is a decent table, and all it's going to take is 1 or 2 hands, and I can get back to even. So we rebuy for another 200, and in the very first hand back, we look down at ace-king offsuit. Under the gun opens up to $10. We get calls from +2, the cutoff, and the button. So when the action gets to me, I'm going to re-raise, and I raise to $55. Under the gun, who's been my nemesis today, is the only caller, so we're off to a flop heads up. The flop is 8-jack-king rainbow. Great flop for me. I bet out for $75. My opponent calls, so we're off to the turn. The turn is a 6 of clubs. Not too concerned about it. I shove for my last $75. My opponent snaps me off. I decide to go ahead and roll my hand over. Look at how I do it. Pretty standard, right? The river is a 3 of clubs, and I'll let you listen to what he says.
How you do it? That's what you did to me.
He flips over 10 jack of clubs very aggressively for runner flush and says it's because that's how I flipped my hand over, which, as you can see from the replay, is obviously not how it happened. Frustrated, confused, and feeling like I'm stuck in a downswing that is never going to end, I decide to go ahead and get my car and call it a day.
It looks like 2022 is going to pick up right where 2021 left off, but that's okay. With the exception of the hand where I ran into the set, I actually don't hate the way I played any of those hands, and a couple cards come out a little bit differently. I'm probably making a lot of money there. So that session, we were into the game for $400, out for none. Brutal. If you enjoy, like and subscribe, and see you next time.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more poker content. And you can follow me on Instagram at 7cardflushpoker.